Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We are back with a comic review. Today we are reviewing Miss Marvel, and we're both pretty excited for this going in. We both heard good things about this run. This is simply volume 1, so we were pretty interested in reading it, and we are here to give you our thoughts.
This is going to be a spoiler-free review. To talk a little bit about our backgrounds with comics, I am more of a comic newbie. I've been slowly getting into them more over the past year and a half. So I haven't really read a whole lot of superhero comics, at least full volumes. I've read a few singular issues, but that's about it.
Yeah, and I feel like you tend to do more like third-party publishers
Correct.
than the big two. Whereas I'm kind of the flip side of that. I don't read a whole lot of third-party comics, but I have read a ton of Marvel and DC. I've read, actually, other Miss Marvel comics, just not this specific run. So I was pretty excited going in. I felt like we have different comic perspectives a lot of times, so it's interesting to see what we would think about this one. So if you're unfamiliar with this story, it follows Kamala Khan, who is a young Muslim woman growing up in New York City, and she is a big fan of superheroes, and she finds herself actually getting superpowers through an unclear process, and we see her actually gain some powers and start trying to be a hero. And this is an origin story for her, and so we get really just the beginning in her story of her getting her powers and like her first couple encounters of her learning how to use them.
So let's talk about the plot a little bit. Again, this is a spoiler-free review, so we won't be speaking to super specifics. I think we have slightly differing opinions on this. I was not the biggest fan of the plot. I really like the premise. I really like the diversity aspect of this, but the way the plot plays out, I find very generic and overplayed. Personally, it's a very typical superhero origin, in my opinion. You know, kids go to parties, kids get superpowers, kids do stupid things trying to save the world. There was not a whole lot of uniqueness to it plot-wise. Premise-wise, yes. Plot-wise, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you that it is derivative of previous works. I think I enjoyed it more just because I think I've read a lot more of these little origin stories, and so they all
Wouldn't that make you more tired of it?
Well, no, because they're all pretty similar, and I'm a sucker for street-level heroes, which I feel like Kamala Khan is going to end up being. Like, I love Spider-Man, I love Daredevil, like, especially before they get to, like, Avengers-level status, when they're still, like, street punks. So I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was anything new or specifically, like, crazy, like, wow, this is so fresh for a comic book, but it was fun to read. Now, something we both found interesting, actually, is that Kamala Khan is a pretty interesting character, but specifically when she chooses to start using her superpowers, instead of choosing a new superhero name, she actually takes the Miss Marvel name, which the newly named Captain Marvel left behind quite a bit ago. So,
which she does out of, like, reverence and homage to original Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, which I thought was interesting, but I don't know, I wish she had come up with something original and been her own unique character, especially for such a diverse superhero. I wish she would have had something that was wholly her own. Yeah,
it did feel a little bit like, oh, we're pushing boundaries in who Kamala Khan is, so we can't sell copies unless it has a more familiar name on top of it, which is why they chose Miss Marvel, because I just don't know if it would have sold under a brand new superhero name. Which is disappointing, but
I also felt that while they did enough background of original Miss Marvel to give you context, as a more comic newbie, I just didn't relate to that because I wasn't a reader of the original Miss Marvel comics. So to me, that didn't hold a lot of impact personally. For more experienced comic readers, maybe it would. Another big piece of comic books and comic book reviews is the art style, and I feel like I'm a little picky with my comic art styles. I'm not an artist by any means. This is just off of pure preference. I was not a fan of this art style at all.
I actually liked it sometimes.
I would agree with that, but there were certain pieces of it that just I can't stand.
Well, and here's why. Sometimes the art is very detailed, and Brittany pointed this out to me, which I didn't super notice, but going back, I was like, wow, that there are interesting choices when their art style is like, oh, for these panels, I'll actually leave a ton of detail out, and it'll be very low detail compared to some really high detail.
It literally
scenes.
has like more zoomed in on faces. They're very detailed faces. They're very like artfully drawn. And then it has a zoomed out scene with like multiple people like in a shop or something. And it's literally just like dots for eyes and a little simple smiley face. Like, what? I'm also pretty disappointed knowing that I don't enjoy this art style because the artist of this, which is Adrian Alfana, I looked up what else he has worked on, and he has worked on the Brian K. Vaughan Runaways series, which I was really looking forward to reading, and now I'm not so much. So
I think the art style is pretty similar, actually.
To Runaways?
I think so.
That makes me sad.
So overall, while we're excited for this one, I don't think it quite lived up to our expectations.
I was very underwhelmed, which really disappoints me because I've heard nothing but good things about this series and this particular first volume, but I just don't see it.
So maybe this run continues to get really good, who knows? But I think for both of us, at least right now, we're not going to be going out to pick up the second volume to continue that.
I have too many other comic series that I have started on, and because I don't chew through comics quite as quickly as I do regular like novels, I just don't want to spend my time on this series right now. Maybe eventually I'll change my mind, but I'd rather spend time on Saga and Paper Girls, which are two series I am very much enjoying at the moment. So that is the end of this comic book review. We do have one other comic book review on our channel, which we will link for you. It is for Saga Volume 1. Let us know if you want us to do more of these types of videos. Give us a thumbs up if you do, and if you enjoyed this one, we would love to review more comics for you in full volume form. And if you like us and want to see more content from us, please subscribe. We do a lot of different content on this channel. We have an upcoming BS Spooktober 31 Days of Halloween extravaganza coming up that we're very excited about, so if you're interested in that, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification. It might work, it might not. Who knows with YouTube? And if you want to see any of our other existing videos, you can check them out right over there, and we'll see you guys in our next video. Bye!